Alright, so I guess this is gonna be another quick video. Well, not even quick. It could be quick depending on how it is and how well my explanation goes. So what I'm gonna be doing is essentially checking and validating users based on status codes. I could go more in depth with it, and it's easier to show than explain it. So for say, let's go ahead and do Instagram. Let's do Instagram, just their main account, right? So let this be the account that we're checking. If we go ahead and inspect the page, click on network right here, and refresh the page, it'll show us that first request. Essentially, this just shows us that we got the request from this URL and returned 200, meaning that it was validated, it allowed us, and it actually went through. Some of this is just extra information, cookies and whatever else. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and do an example on Instagram. So if we go ahead and open up our handy little terminal, open up Python. Let's go ahead and start off with importing requests. That will be the module we'll be using to get the status code from this URL. So in order to do so, we first need to get the request from the URL. So I'll go ahead and assign this to a variable equals request.get https alright, so we got the request. We could just go ahead and type R and it will give us the response, or we could do other things such as like the status code, just to print the status code. There's other things in there such as print. Oh wait, why did I do that? Content. It will provide us with the response page. So essentially this, with a bunch of other stuff in there too, like the cookies, and yeah, you got the idea. So if we scroll up, you can just see there's just a bunch of Instagram stuff. There are some useful things in here, but you will have to clip the majority of that just to find what is what and what you're allowed to be looking at, or what you actually need from it. So yeah, it just lets us know that this is the page title name. Yeah, and it returned positive. But if we were to do something such as here, I can't do that. Yeah, I can. Alright, so I'll clear that. So if we want to try something such as here, let's find just type in a bunch of numbers at the end. Alright, so page not found, correct? So if we go ahead and take that, R equals request.get this amazing URL R. It's going to give us a 404. 404 essentially states that this page right here is not valid. That, let me use this one. I have no clue what this one is for or used. Alright, so we got a 404 from this URL, and essentially it just states that it wasn't able to return back, not a valid URL or page. And yeah, so we look at the response, probably just tell us, hey, page not found. Preview, I'm pretty sure it would just, yeah, just say this exact same stuff. Whoa, not worried about that. So we could also do print r.status underscore code. We could print stuff such as like r.cookies. It would give us the cookies for this. Again, other stuff we're not really so worried about. Alright, so the essential of what we will be checking for is this URL. Or maybe it could be any other URL. Maybe in like Instagram mode, if that's a page. Yeah, alright, so that's another page. But we'll just use those two, alright, for like my sake. I don't have to type in other stuff. So let's go ahead and do or actually I could give you another example. So if you want to check mass users, there is only one issue with that, so I'll show you guys, and then I might have to wait maybe a couple minutes and it'll be fine. So if for in range, let's do, it's 100 and something, that's all that I know, and we will be getting from this URL, if you spam certain websites and certain things, you will hit what is known as spam block. It's to prevent you spamming Instagram servers with, you know, information. It's basically to optimize the website itself, so you're not, so it doesn't believe that you're sending some sort of DOS attack, or, you know, to prevent. It's like prevention. So we go ahead and run this. It will be going 200 times, getting this URL, and printing the status code. So you'll notice a difference in the status code. 200. We'll let it run for a good second, and essentially after this hits, however many times this is, you will get a different status code, and that's how you know you hit spam block. Or you could also print requests, or you could print the r.content, and it will tell you essentially like you're spamming our API, please wait a few minutes, and whatever else. Alright, so we're still waiting. I'll get out of a second. So that would be how you get status codes to verify on Instagram. The next one we'll be doing, I'll do SoundCloud, because, you know, why not? SoundCloud, I believe, does not have spam block, so it'll be much easier to show, like, what is what. Come on now. I think we're almost there. I know for sure I've passed 100. Still at 200, so. Alright, I'm almost sure we're about to hit it. No? Here, let's try it one more time. There you go. Alright, so we hit 14.9. So r equals request, I get this URL, print r.content. So essentially this will just tell us to wait. Alright, so we'll say page not found. Let's do r dot. Yeah, I could just reload this page. It should work. Yeah, so there we go. It'll tell us to wait a few minutes before we try again. This essentially just states the entire thing from this page, but I couldn't be asked to go find that, and they're too lazy, or it's just too much for me to look through. Alright, so now we hit spam block on here. you kind of have the idea on how to check and verify users. Well, I guess it's not really verifying, because certain accounts have they're banned. So if an account is suspended or banned or disabled or deleted and the user is not there, you will hit 404 as the status code. That's just because, you know, it can't verify that it's actually there with status codes. You might have to go more in depth with it. I couldn't tell you about that. I don't know about, well, I don't know a lot about Instagram. I know a bit about it, but anything that I've messed with, I can't see if an account is banned or whatnot. I'm pretty sure there's a way though. Alright, so I'm gonna give that a couple. SoundCloud. Alright, so normally if you want to look for a user on SoundCloud, you type in soundcloud.com / and a user. It's same principle as Instagram. We will have r equals request.get. Just copy this and paste it in here. Alright, so we got 200. Now let's type in some numbers at the end. Not found. So so we're gonna get this URL. And we got 404. Easy. It couldn't get more self-explanatory than that. 404 for SoundCloud. User does not exist. 200. The user exists. Let's go ahead and I'll do a little small thing. Now let's go ahead and find a small word list. I just want something small. Let's go ahead, maybe that's too small. Jeez. Let's go ahead and try this. I'll put it here. Actually, no. CD make dir YouTube. CD YouTube. Oh, really? Jesus. Oh, that's right, I could have put the backwards, or backslash, and then /, or the other way around. One of those ways. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these words into this text document right there, and close that. So we'll be using those words to validate users. Alright, so Instagram. Alright, let's look. Add a spam block. So let's go ahead and take this. This is my SoundCloud, just for small little testing purposes. So nano soundcloud.py. So all we really need is just the request module, nothing else. But I like to add a couple other modules. Colorama for the color. And the initialize that. Start my main function. Alright. Let's start. Print. This is gonna be like my little banner. Sometimes I do interesting things, sometimes I don't. I could define a clear function, but this is just a small little project. So star times, let's do 32. Not really doing much. This would be Soundcloud username checker. I'm pretty sure that's over 32. I'll put that to 40. Star times 40. Let's see what this looks like. Alright, so I don't want to count how many of this. 9. So this is 31. Let's go ahead and center this. 2, 1, 2. Alright. That should be pretty much centered, I believe, at least in my eyes. Yeah. Maybe. It's whatever. I'm not so worried about the design at the moment. So, let's go ahead and create the script. So, I normally like to list my directory so I can see what other files, just in case. For say, like, my word list file has a different name or it's more complex, I could just copy and paste it from my terminal instead of having to go or remember what the word list name is. Makes it easier for me. Example would be, we'll run it again. So I'll list them. And we can start. So we need to input file. We need to assign a variable for our input file. So, and I'll just do in file. Equals raw_input. Please enter file name. And then we will open that file name because we need to extract the data and contents from that file. So with open and file name, and we're gonna read it. That's all we're gonna do. We're not gonna write anything. We're not going to append any information. So yeah. Here, let's go ahead and put this as well. And out file equals raw_input. Or maybe I could just, yeah, we'll just use end file name as our output. As F for line and F for word and line dot split. So we'll be opening this as F, so we basically assigned that file and its contents as F, and this is for each line and F, so it goes down by line, and then we can make it even more condensed and get each word when we split the lines. So yeah, try exception as E for debugging purposes, I always like to print my errors, but I'm not gonna do that just in case it makes it look more ridiculous. I don't really have a lot of issues on SoundCloud. So r equals request.get plus word. So this would essentially send a get request with this word from the file name, and we could print our dot status. That's our code. So this would be a small example. I'll give you plus. Alright, now let's not do that. Plus word. Alright, so this basically would return a bunch of status codes. Let's do words.text. And there it goes. I should have started. Maybe. What's a problem? Where's our issue at? Should have worked. At least I thought it would. cd YouTube with open words.text read as f. Oh shit. For line and f. Word and line dot split. Print word. No clue why that didn't work, so let's go ahead and read this. I must be missing something. Either missing something or I'm just confused. Or maybe I was just impatient. Let's try that. It's not outputting anything. Why are you not outputting? You know, maybe it is hitting an exception and we're completely ignoring it. Okay, so we were amazing debugging, what it can do for you. So let's turn this into a string. I'm pretty sure that's what it's talking about. There you go. So it returns the status code of each of these users or words in this file. And so let's go ahead and search for some of these that have 404 or that don't exist for whatever reason. Potentially they could be banned or something. I can't tell you. I don't know. Or maybe they're just reserved. Here, let's go ahead and do that output file as well. So now we got the status codes to work and whatever else. Let's go ahead and write an if statement so we can basically output all the valid users. So if r.status code equals 200, or no, let's do 44 first. So we can always check for the errors first and then pass. front. And then I'm just gonna add colors to these. It's just so I can identify what is what. I'm unsure if this would really be. Here. We'll leave it like that, yeah. elif, status, ask for code. Let's do 200. So if it's valid, plus 4 dots white plus user found. Gotta delete that. Professional, right? So, essentially what this does right here, let me move this over for you guys. So, essentially what this does is you input file, you read the file, and you split each line to get the word, and then you get the request from this URL with the word, and if it says that the user doesn't exist, or you get an error page, it will tell you that it's not there. Else if it comes up with 200, the user is found, therefore that the user exists. And then we're gonna add this is for extra debugging purposes. I like to take precautions just in case, for say maybe they do have spam block and I've just never hit it. I couldn't tell you, but it's just for safety or extra measures. I just like to do it. You don't have to, but yeah. Other. I'm not sure if it would provide me another integer error with the string, so I'm just gonna put that wrapped with string. Alright, so let's go ahead and do, well, here, I'll show you an example of this. It probably should look a lot more clean. There you go. There you go. We can also, let me wrap these in this. I just having to read all of that, and I don't know, it just looks like something that's ridiculous. Alright, so we know that that works, so let's go ahead and write the output. Output equals open and file name plus So append output dot write lines. So we're gonna write the word, and we're gonna add a new line to the end of that, just to so it writes or goes on to the next line after whatever it needs to do, and then we're going to close it so it could save the integrity of the file right after it writes to it. So this should be I actually don't like that. Let's it would just look so wrong. And output file name. And output file name. Alright, so we got that there. And essentially what it should do is, again, you know, go through the process, and if the status code is 44, basically the user does not exist or is not found, it will output it into a file named whatever we name it, because it's a variable. We append each time we write to the line, or to the file, and then we add a new line to the end of it, and then we close it. And when it opens up, writes the word, adds another new line, and then it closes. And it's in a loop because it needs to go through each of the words in the file in order to complete its task. Let's go ahead and do this. Accept keyboard interrupt. Let's go ahead and do an import sys, because we will be doing sys.exit. Exit program. Essentially, so this will just close the program if we interrupt it. So Control C. Then you can do Control Z to get around that, but you know, this just makes it look better. Alright, so let's go ahead and run it. I could have probably added color. Yeah, let me do that real quick. My bad. I'm not sure what color I want to put these at. Let's do cyan. I'm not gonna color these. Just there you go. Words output dot text. Awesome. So this should be outputting. Oops. Cat words output, and then they should match up. Yeah, so it's essentially that easy to make a script such as this. And you could do the exact same thing for Instagram. A long time ago, there used to be this Instagram endpoint where we were able to grab JSON data from a specific parameter in the URL. It's not there anymore, at least to my knowledge. I think they might have changed it, but a way that I did find around it is you would have to access the Instagram API, and Instagram has something known as they call them user IDs, and the way you can get it is, I'm gonna do this real quick. You would have to, there's a specific script that'll output it for you, but I believe it is also on the source. Well, maybe it might be on the source. is somewhere on here, and it will provide you this number. I don't know how many digits. It depends actually. So the developers get like, you know, the lower end numbers like 1. I don't even know who owns 1, but that is assigned to a user. You can also essentially, you know, verify that if that user ID exists, that, you know, the account is taken, obviously. But if it does not exist, then yeah. Another thing about that is, what was I gonna say? So user IDs they're like stuck on the account, so they're not username based. So when you first make your Instagram account, you are assigned a user ID that doesn't change. It's static, it stays on your account. I guess it's a way of Instagram like figuring out who you are and understanding like your user. Alright, but yeah, that should be you know, not really, well, hopefully understandable like example on how to scrape user data. Well, not user data, user status codes to verify if they're like created or not. So apply this to other things. It's not just Instagram and SoundCloud, the things like GitHub as well. So if I were to go here, I'm pretty sure I would get a different status code. Let me try it. Let's go ahead and get this URL. Alright now. Oh. So we got 200, but if I were to do like a bunch of other stuff, 404, okay, so they provide the same status codes. A lot of websites will utilize the exact same status codes just because it's common and it's more easier to maintain because they know these common status codes, but it's not always going to be the same. that's like kind of the best I can tell you. But alright, so this essentially wraps it up. I don't know if I really want to add it to my Discord bot at the moment. Maybe might do it later, but hopefully this gives you an understanding on what status codes are and how they work. And yeah, experiment. Good luck.